All right, that's it. The red button has been pushed. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Sky's with me again.
What's up? What's up?
Yeah, what is it, Memorial Day? Today?
I think so.
I hope we all got to eat some meats and think about our veterans and all those that lost and those who were lucky enough to make it back. You know? I don't know. I don't know if that's the... Anyway. I just got done grilling up some meat. It sounds like Sky got to tear up some hot dogs or whatever. Some grilled treats. I think I was sitting outside in the backyard and here in Tucson, and I think I could hear some fireworks going off too. Hope it was fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of nice and cool outside. It still hasn't gotten quite so hot yet.
No?
No? Well, I've been out every morning, I call it morning, it's been noon lately. I've been out every morning, and it's warm, but it doesn't quite feel hot yet. Maybe it's because we're from Arizona, but I hear this week we're supposed to get some wicked record-breaking heat.
Oh, what?
Yeah. I don't know. I got some kind of CNN update that said we're going to break 100. The West Coast, anyway, the west side of the country is going to break like 138 heat records is what they're saying we're leading up to right now. I don't know how you can break all that in 1 week, but that's what they say. Maybe the Farmer's Almanac this time of the same year.
Oh, man. Well, I've been out when it's noon time. It's the heat, but yeah, I guess it does get more worse. So
yeah, much worse.
It's when the air conditioner in your ride, you gotta turn it on full blast.
Yeah,
like whatever coolness you can suck out of that car is.
Oh yeah,
really just trying to stay cool. So what else? So what?
Tonight,
are we gonna?
Yeah, we could jump into this. I guess I got carried away talking about the weather here. So Sky brought up an interesting point to me, and I'm kind of like, I've become aware of it too, but I didn't think anything about it when you first brought it up. We're talking, well, the way you brought it to me was a return to normalcy. Are we getting back to normal after the pandemic? Is there some signs that that's over? And you want to start that off, or shall I just dive right in? Because I'm kind of curious about what you have to say.
Well, it's almost like to kind of go back to what it felt like to be normal.
Huh.
You were having to jump through a lot of hoops.
Yeah.
And a lot more restrictions. And so over the weekend, I was at this tournament, which is 3-day, and
where was it?
In Tucson.
Okay.
And so in Tucson they've done away with the requirement of masks. And I think I still don't understand it because in some places they do require you to wear one. So, but at this particular event, it was an optional thing. So, and in the past, like maybe about a month ago, the kids could only bring their parents. There was no younger kids allowed. So and even before then, parents were. There's a point where only the teens were allowed.
Uh-huh.
So I've been seeing these gradual changes, and so for this past weekend, for it to be, the whole family can come, and you don't gotta wear a mask if you don't want to.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I've noticed as well is the water fountains.
The water fountains.
Yeah, the water fountains are still closed. Like,
oh yeah.
So that might be a thing where those aren't around, or maybe they come up with a different way to have people get water.
The funny thing about water, or at least the water fountains, like we wrapped them up when I was still at Lowe's. We wrapped them up like day one. They were just wrapped up like hard, little saran wrap. You know, nobody can drink from them. But like even pre-pandemic, I always kind of had a little bit of a feeling like this is nasty. You know, like sometimes you'll roll up to drink out of the water fountain and there'll be this big fat loogie in there. I'm like, you fucking, like, whoever you are, if you're listening, you're a piece of shit. Like, just talking loogies in the fucking drinking fountain where everybody goes to drink. Like,
I hope they're not listening.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing even as I said it. We got one of those guys in our midst. But anyway, even pre-pandemic, I felt like that was kind of a nasty ritual, I guess. So, but yeah, I do believe to this day that that the water fountains are still wrapped up over there.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe that's the new normal. There's no water fountains. Bring your own.
Yeah, get your own. So what else are you seeing, or what else did you see at this tournament?
Like I said, like in the past, the bleachers have been like taped off to where there's spacing in between where you sit and where you can't sit.
Yeah.
And this time it was back to like how it was before there wasn't anything going on.
Really?
It was just normal. I mean, it wasn't as packed as I've seen it in the past, but
yeah.
Other than that, it did feel like hey, we're going back in the direction of what normal felt like. Before, because that's another thing that has been kind of weird, is accepting the reality of a whole year kind of just been eaten out of our life, you know?
Yeah.
To where we had to kind of abide by these restrictions. And so now, even over the weekend, all I saw, because it's happening worldwide, where sporting events are like happening. You know, baseball season, you know, the playoffs are happening, and so people are out and about and they're drinking. And so I saw a lot of videos of people just fighting each other. And I mean, that happens, but
you mean drunken fighting or fighting about the masks?
No, drunken. I don't know what the reasoning was, but I'm just saying it was. People were out and about, but they were fighting.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what happened at all the events, but I'm just saying like that wasn't possible before. Now it is.
I bet all those like roided out fuckers that are like they like this whole time during the pandemic they've been beating their lady and beating their kids, and then now that they're out they can finally beat up other people like other dudes. And they're just like fuck yeah, like yeah, let's fight. You know what I mean? Like they've been itching to just beat somebody up, and now that they're out, they get to fight again. You know what I mean? There are those people, like, they go out to fight.
Yeah.
And that's probably a lot of what you were seeing.
No, you're the pride and...
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, so I think that's another thing, too, is we're... I don't know, we've been desensitized. I can't even say it. Desensitized.
Desensitized.
Yeah, has this year that we've been robbed, desensitized us to where, you know, we're kind of out of control with our behaviors.
Wow.
Because in the NBA playoffs, there was somebody that spit on one of the players, like. I mean, that, like, spit on them. I mean, even in a pandemic, I mean, like, you know, that's kind of gross, but, disrespectful, more disrespectful in that sense. But, like, again, like, these guys haven't been out.
Yeah.
And now they're out, and they're just sort of just kind of acting the fool, like it's, I don't know, it's kind of like childish, where a kid wants to go out and you don't let him out, and you finally do, and they're just, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of thinking of, like, how you always say, like, we're animals.
Yeah.
Or animalistic, or we're beasts, or whatever. But it's just,
I stand by that.
We've been in the cage.
Yeah.
And now we're out, among other.
Back to sniffing butts.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went on 2 little vacations, I guess, this past couple of weekends.
Out and about.
Yeah, I've been out and about, like little northern Arizona, like the last one this past weekend. It was like it was up near Flagstaff.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if there's like a north and a south Arizona kind of mentality, but like I felt like I was seeing a lot of the people, the type of people that you'd hear say like, "Hell yeah, brother," you know, like those type of folks. But like, we were going to a restaurant, and you know, restaurants have been kind of funny this whole time, where you know, you show up, you gotta wear a mask. You walk in the front door, you gotta wear a mask. The second you sit down, you just take them off, and there's people like right there. But it's like, oh, now that we're seated, it's okay. You know, I always saw that as kind of weird and hypocritical. But you know, these businesses need work and need money, and at the same time, like I remember at Lowe's in our lounge area, they put up like plexiglass dividers on the table. So if we had a bunch of people in the room, we'd be sitting across from each other, but with plexiglass between us. And I'm sure we've all seen the studies of sneezes and coughs and all that, but it was like we got comfortable to the point where we weren't wearing masks. Like you sit down to eat, you know, you don't want to pull the mask up and down as you're eating. And at some point, I guess it was brought to their attention or something, and they started putting up signs that said, if you're not actively eating or drinking, you need to have your mask up. So I guess you take a bite and you're chewing, and you got to you got to pull that mask back up. But like in my mind, that was, you know, that's too much. You know, like, so even with our little plexiglass things, we had like picnic tables set up, and we basically all just spread out to our own picnic tables. And anytime I walked in there and there was a whole bunch of people, I would just go and sit on the lawn furniture in the store. And even that's a little weird because, you know, I was working overnight, so all of that would be empty. But if you think about it, you know, all day long people are sitting there and getting back up and, you know, coughing and sneezing on the stuff, like trying to test out the furniture. Yeah. And then I'm going out there like it's all clean, you know, actively eating. And I don't know, it's always a toss-up. And so I guess what I'm getting at is this time around, half the people were wearing masks and half the people weren't. And then, like, I was wearing a mask. Like, we went in the restaurant, I wore my mask. And, like, when we got to the table, I kind of slowly eased it down. But, it was weird. Like, the people who weren't wearing masks were looking at us like we were dummies. And people who were wearing masks were looking at them like, oh, my God, you're going to get everybody sick. You're a fucking asshole. You know? And I was just kind of caught in between, like, you know, I don't know. Like, again, I still have that feeling that I had in the beginning, like, oh, it's here, it's there, not here. Like, it's on TV, it's not here. And like I said back then, man, I wasn't watching the news, and then one day I finally caught some. I just walked in the room, and somebody was watching the news, and I saw something like 20,000 dead in New York. Not 20,000, it was like 200,000. And they were digging mass graves, and all I could think was, like, back in the days of the Black Plague and, like, fucking, genocide, you know, the Holocaust, like, just killing people. Mass murder, mass death, and mass casualties. And that freaked me out. Like, I went to work that night and freaked out. Like, you know, couldn't wash my hands enough. I was very panicked. Like, I haven't felt that way in a long time. But there's still this, like, weird, like, I started to realize, like, I listen to a lot of comedy, like stand-up comedy, and I listen to the recordings that have been going on, like, not during the pandemic, but, like, old ones. And the entire time, you know, all these people are packed in this huge room, and there's coughing and sneezing, like, it's like coughing and sneezing is a natural process of the human body. So, you know, it happens. And during this pandemic, man, like, you cough, and everybody kind of looks at you, and they kind of pull their mask up a little bit higher, you know, they, you know, scowl at you, like, you son of a bitch, get out of here with that coughing and sneezing bullshit. And really, it's like, it's a natural process. You know, it's a way you clear your throat. It's a way you get that bad shit out of your lungs if you catch, like, some pollen. Yeah. So.
But did you feel safe when you were out?
The weird thing is, I'm still very aware of it. I'm not as panicked about it. Like, when I would run down and get shit out of the car, I wouldn't, like, grab my mask and run down. I'd just run through, and when I go through the lobby of the hotel we were staying at, I just kind of run through, you know, run back in, go back up, touching the buttons for the elevator, you know, coming in, wash hands. But no mask. And, you know, occasionally I'd run into people. And, you know, I'd let them go in the elevator, whatever. I think I jumped in the elevator with a couple people. And I feel okay. I felt safe enough to run down, you know, not grab a mask. But, like, up to this point, I've done a pretty good job of always, let's say almost always, having a mask in one of my pockets. For just the occasion of going to a store or going to go eat or just going out in public. Like, usually I'm at the store. That's probably the biggest exposure point you could have. Because everybody has to feed their families. You know, everybody's got to go and get groceries.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Let me put it this way. We took a boat ride, and it was open air. So, and I always felt like open air was a difference. You know, just a little bit safer. And I guess, you know, Arizona, quote, supposedly lifted the mask restriction, right? Governor Ducey?
Yeah.
Or Ducey, as a lot of people say. Just lifted the mask restriction.
Ducey.
Yeah. So there's people out there going, hey, that shit's over. Like, there was even the conversation in the lobby. It was a Denny's, I think. And all the staff were still wearing masks. I was wearing a mask. My mom, I think she had forgotten hers or something, and then she put one on. But, like, you know, people were standing around grinning at us like, you idiots. And they didn't have their masks, and they're like, hey, somebody said it out loud. Hey, Governor Ducey lifted that thing. We don't got to do it.
Yeah.
And for me, from out of town, I still felt like wearing one. I still held on to that safety net, I guess. And the staff, you know, they are exposed to so many people. I think they're still mandatory masking.
Yeah.
But what I saw on the boat and it was a train trip and a boat trip, and on both of them there were people just out and about, no mask. In the cabin, in the train cabin, it's not a caboose, but in the cabin of the train and out on the open air one, there was no mask, and it felt okay. I stopped rocking one at some point. Like, it felt like we were past it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody's walking around like, oh, I'm vaccinated. This is my patch of safety. This is my shield. I'm vaccinated.
Mm.
And so, you know, I was out there and I'm surrounded with people, and if you listen, everybody mentions it. Everybody says it, like, oh, I'm vaccinated. Fuck it, I'm vaccinated.
Oh, yeah. But they're having like concerts now where like they're either having sections or it's like only vaccinated people can come, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So that's another kind of new thing. I
don't know. If you listen carefully to even the main guy, the science guy in the Senate House, the doctor who talks to Fauci. He said, oh yeah, it's okay, it's safer, but he still said if you're going to a concert or you're in a place where people are concentrated, I think he even said gyms, he still recommended a mask. He said even if you're vaccinated, you gotta, you still gotta be careful, and but you know, for the most part, go for it. Have a ball was what he kept saying. Like, he didn't say that, but he was like, hey, you know, go for it. And
get it on.
Yeah, get it on. No holds barred.
I went to Phoenix a few times, and it was like the masks were like not expected, but you know, I think just kind of encouraged it.
Yeah,
you know, kind of out and about.
Yeah.
But there was a few times where, like, I think it was in Starbucks. One of us had forgotten it, and they gave us one, which kind of seems really nice. But lately I've been kind of becoming lazy with the mask, where like before I was all into like having one ready or having these fancy ones. But after a while, I just grabbed the medical ones because I'll forget my one that I have. But it's like it's become dull.
Yeah.
You know, before it was like, I need my mask. Now it's like, I'll just find one somewhere.
Yeah.
And some people, and I've heard this, and it's kind of gross, because I heard this at my work, where they're like, you know, you can save those masks and let them air out and wear them a day later. You know, and it's just kind of, I ain't doing that. So it kind of feels like I've been wasteful with my mask usage.
Huh.
I don't know. You know, I mean, if we're encouraging people to still wear them.
Yeah.
It's like there's still going to be a need for you to have them or buy them or.
Well, they're still out there, you know. They're still on sale. I'm sure their sales have dropped, but they're still out there, you know. They're still being sold. They're still being restocked.
But that's just like paper towels or toilet paper. Now it's like masks. But I haven't been like to a point where I wanna not wear it, but I need to wear it.
Huh.
Am I just like obedient like that, where I just wherever they tell me to wear it, I'll just wear it?
Huh.
You know, like just following in line, you know.
Well, I've heard two different thoughts, schools of thought on that.
Mm-hmm.
I heard some people go, "Oh, you're just a sheep. You're just a sheep. You're terrified of something you don't need to be terrified about. You're just doing what the government tells you," and they're so upset. And they're like, "You guys are putting my health at risk. I'm not gonna do it." You know, Karens or whatever. You know, just people losing their shit. And then at the same time, some people were like, "You know, it's okay if I wear a mask. Like, I'll do it out of courtesy of everybody else, and I really do appreciate it if other people wear masks too." You know. And, you know, there's two sides. Someone's angry, someone's peaceful.
Yeah.
While you were talking, I was thinking that on the bus. I haven't been on the bus since I left my job, but hold on. There was a whole period where I'll be riding, and it's like. If the bus driver, if somebody got on and say like they haven't put their mask on yet, but they were like, you know, going through their pockets trying to find it. I had been riding the bus so long for a while there that I'd have the mask on one ear, and then when the bus pulled up, I'd slap it on. Or if like some, you know, sketchy character walked up, I'd throw the mask on, whatever. just in case. Like I had this one dude, like I didn't have my mask on, I was chilling. And this one fucking guy walked up, and he sat next to me, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, I didn't pull my mask up. And next thing I know, he's just like, and I was just like, mask up now. I just lit it up like, you motherfucker. Go stand over there. I'm about to go stand over here, you bastard. But, anyway, when people would get on the bus driver would stop the bus. You know, we all got somewhere to go, and they would stop the bus get out of their seat, come back and say, hey, you need to put that mask on or you need to get off the bus. And like sometimes, like in the beginning, I think they had available masks. Like, hey, here's a mask, please put it on, or we're not going anywhere, you need to get off this bus. And I think at some point, they were like, the bus driver was like, hey, you need to put on that mask, or you need to get off this bus. You know, angry.
Yeah.
And I think even one person was like, nah, I ain't doing it. And they called the cops. But the whole time, we were just standing there. I think this time, the cops just happened to be at the gas station where I was catching the bus. And he's like, hey, I'll go get those cops right now. And he's like, I don't got a mask. He's like, I ain't gonna do it. And they went and got the cops. And the whole time I'm sitting there like, anytime anybody stops the bus, I'm like, you fucking asshole, like, get off the bus. Just get off. We got places to be. Like, just get off.
We're on a route that.
Yeah, you're gonna make my ass late, and it's just because you're being a bitch or whatever. Like, you need to stop. So it was bad like that, and like I've seen so many videos over this, like people just losing their shit. Put a fucking mask on. You better put the fucking mask on. You walk into Walmart or something, they're just like, put that fucking mask on. Where's your mask? You know, everybody would point you out. Everybody around you, like, hey, mask. And I remember when it all first started, like, I would walk around just like, you know, who gives a shit? I don't need a mask. I'm good. And it took seeing that shit in New York where I was like, okay, I better start wearing masks. You know, but in the beginning, I was just like, you know, I'm overweight, but I'm healthy. Like, I'm like, you know, I feel like I trust my immune system to take care of me. It's like that's what it does. It always has. You know, I get cuts, you know, coughs, I get sick, and I get healthy. And so I felt fine. Just walk around. And it felt, over this couple of weekends where I was out and about in the world, it felt kind of like back to that. Like, hey, we're okay. You know? You know, it's like, hey, we're okay. Like, I think it's been that way since the restaurants open back up. Like, wear a mask, and then you get to your table and take it off. And that was always weird for me, because we were still, like, deep in the wear the fucking mask thing. But then you sit at the table, it's like, oh, go ahead and take it off.
You know, like, when we were deep in the corona shit, where it was like the numbers, like everyone's getting it, and like they're hot zones, and Arizona was a hot place, and like I would just have these random thoughts in my head, like, do I have it? You know, like so it would just always be like, I get it why the masks are necessary in a sense, but I'm pretty sure you could argue that I'm wrong. But like, if I have it, me wearing the mask, I'm preventing it from giving it to anybody else.
Yeah.
So I still kind of keep that mentality.
Yeah.
But I always think like I'm offending whoever I'm around, or if I go somewhere where where no one else is wearing the mask, but I got mine on, and it's more like I'm protecting you guys from me.
Yeah.
But it looks like on the outside, like, oh, I think you guys are all just sick, and I don't want what you got. Yeah. I mean, at least that's how I feel. So it's always kind of like, should I just not wear the mask? Should I maybe just get out of the way? You know, it's and then the eyes, you know, lately, you know, like, in the past, like, if you're at Costco or you're at the grocery store and you see somebody, it's like, they don't see you smiling at them, or if you're just being kind and a friendly gesture, you know, you can express things through your face, but you just have the eyes. So I don't know. That's just, sometimes it's just those moments where you're just looking into each other's eyes. But it's just like, those are only ways of kind of having, it's not even communication, it's just sort of like, I don't know if that's just something in my head, but yeah, I've been sort of like looking around and you meet eyes with somebody that's just sort of like, it's more emphasized because, I mean, I can smile at somebody and just, we just happen to meet eyes, but.
Yeah. And your eyebrows raise and.
yeah, and then it goes up more, and it's like, I don't know, man. That's another kind of weird thing about, I guess maybe the social aspect of, cause like I don't think I'm ready to go to bars.
Yeah.
Or
where was I had a bar. I went to a bar. Where the fuck was I? It was some place where you could get a beer. I don't think I was quite at a bar, but I could get a beer there. And when I got the glass, it was kind of like it had like the soap scum on it or whatever. Like it was kind of cloudy. And I just kind of sat there for a second looking at it. And I'm like, wow, like bars, they reuse their glasses all the time. And it's like they got like 3-step wash system. It's like soap, like you soap it and scrub it, and then you dip, and then you wash it in water, and then I think you throw it in a sanitizer. I don't know the steps. I think that's what it is. It's the you wash it, you rinse it, and then you sanitize it. But like, if you got a crappy bar back, or you know whoever's washing the glasses, or say their system's old, like there was a moment where I was looking at like the stains on the glass, and I was just kind of like, ooh, do I want to drink from this thing, or should I just order a Bud? Like, order a glass bottle where they pop the cap right there in front of me, and I was just like, and I just drank it. I was like, the beer will kill it. The beer will kill it. Like, I don't know. Like there was a moment where I went back to that panic stage in all of this, and I was just kind of like, get this away from me.
Yeah.
Like just this.
What are certain bars?
Yeah, right. The ones where you swim through the piss to get to the bar. Yeah.
So then, what are some things that aren't normal still? Or,
you know, I'm going to go back to Mass one more time, and I said it before the last time we talked about it. I would always think, whenever I saw any kind of video footage of people in like Japan or China where their populations are, you know, booming, where there's a shit ton of people on top of each other in the cities, and I don't think it was quite so much about sickness, but more about smog. But whenever I saw that, I go, God, I hope that's never a normal thing here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it is now, or it was. People are ripping them off quick. I saw a bunch of videos of people like, I think there were TikToks and shit, people just ripping their masks off and throwing them on the ground, like taking up whole piles of masks and throwing them over their shoulders.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're dead now.
Well, you know, like some of that, there was a while where it was like double mask.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I never felt like anybody really, like, people talk about the N95, and that thing, like, a true N95 is fitted. Like, you can't just buy an N95. Like, a true N95 was like, they would sculpt it to your face, and then they'd spray like a spray, and they'd have you breathe while they're spraying, and the spray had like a dye on it, and if it got anywhere inside your mask, they'd go to refit it. And if you have a beard, which is fucking huge now, it's like a big thing, I got a beard, then you shave that motherfucker for your N95.
Wow.
You do not have a beard. And, yeah, they're like, oh, I'm protecting you, you protect me. And, you know, I'd see people with their nose sticking out over the top, you know, and I never really felt like the mask thing was ever really as safe as they say it was. Like, maybe if we all were fitted, tested, N95s, sure. But, no, I think even before all this, like, I always kind of saw it as a courtesy. If I'm going to cough or sneeze, I'd pull my shirt over my face and cough into my face.
Yeah.
Or, you know, throw my face in my elbow. Like, I always thought that was a common courtesy. And that was before all this shit. And, I don't know. Yeah, I never felt totally safe with the mask things. I guess if both of us were wearing it, our sprays would be reduced. I'm thinking of something that didn't feel normal.
Wow.
The last trip we were on, we went swimming. And there was a moment in the back of my head where I went to climb in there and I was like, this is a fucking cesspool. You know,
oh, yeah.
All these bodies from all over are climbing into the same pool. And we're hoping the chlorine kills it, you know, and if it's poorly maintained, who fucking knows? You know, and then we're, you know, I was staying in a hotel. Like, hotels are, historically, you know, famously dirty and used up. So, I'm trying. Yeah, you know, you turn the black light on and there's all your Corona right there, or the jizz, whatever. There's Corona in the jizz. We gotta hide. So, yeah. So, I'm still grasping at straws as far as like what's still not normal. You got anything? Did you have something in mind when you asked?
Well, I think in certain areas, like in certain restaurants, I think mainly the fast food restaurants, like McDonald's and I think even Burger King, where the tables are, like, they have tables marked off where you can't really sit at.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it's just the desire, like, is it just everybody not fully coming out to where they can still pull that, they can still kind of space everybody out now, or I don't know, it just still seems like in some places they don't want you there. So in that sense, I still feel like like you still gotta figure out what hoops you gotta jump through. You want to go to certain places. So, but then there was this burger place in Tempe that I don't know if it was just they didn't have no business, but we just happened to find it on our, you know, suggested places to eat nearby, and this is a pretty cool burger spot, and And I mean, the restaurant was pretty nice, and when we got there, it was like nobody was there. And I think we were the only people there for the entire time that we ate. But I don't know if that was just, I didn't know why that was, but it just kind of seemed like things aren't still fully, like, there's still a lot of people that aren't out. And I don't know where I'm going. I'm just saying.
Was it a type of place that had a drive-thru?
No.
Did it have curbside pickup? Like, were you seeing people show up and get burgers?
Nah. It might have been a new restaurant, but it was just, you had to go into order, and at least I didn't see any curbside, but I've seen those restaurants too where you kind of gotta, like, almost to go.
Yeah.
We'll bring it to you, or...
you remember Cane's? Or do you know what Cane's is? The chicken spot?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're still like that. I mean, they always have lines, like, around the corner.
Oh, yeah.
Cars picking up. But, like, I remember we went to go pick up a big-ass order. And we had already pre-ordered, so we didn't want to go through the drive-thru. We didn't want to get in that line. So I tried to go inside, and they had, like, the front door barricaded. They had, like, a tent out there and a table blocking the door, but, like, the door was, like, locked up. And pulled up, and then they'd send somebody out with masks, and they'd tell, hey, please wear your mask. And they'd come out, and they'd take our name and then bring out a pre-packaged, like it's all packaged up, and then they hand it off. Or they set it on the table, you pick it up off the table. And I don't think they're doing that anymore, but, like, I felt like that was the right move at the time. But to, like, barricade the employees in. I mean, that sounds terrible now. Now that I said it out loud, like, hey, you're locked, you're stuck here.
Yeah.
No going anywhere. You work, just work. Start whipping it.
You're saying in the sense of the health-wise, or the germ-wise.
Well, for the customers, they're probably coming from home to there, or from work to there, and that's it. But for the employees, it's like people after people after people after people, like from everywhere, coming to them. And I think that was the right move at the time, and I felt like when we did kind of the same deal at Lowe's, it felt right, like they were taking precautions for us. Like they started this whole measure of, like, sanitizing everything. Sanitize everything in the morning, sanitize everything at night, like at lunchtime they'd sanitize. And I felt like they were doing good by us. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I got one for what might not still be normal.
What's that?
If you're ready for that, schools.
Oh.
The kids going back to school.
Yeah.
Because, alright, so everybody's lifting the restrictions, right? They're like, oh, the numbers are going down. And it's like, hell, there's a reason for that. There's vaccinations and people are still wearing masks. Now they're lifting it, and it's like, I don't know what the numbers are right now, but, like, I've got my two kids with my lady, Augie and Ava. Well, I don't know if I should say their names. Anyway, Augie and Ava, you've met them, and they're a school age. My boy Ami, he's not ready for school yet. He's not even 4 yet. But we were talking Head Start. at least soon when he's 4. And we both kind of agreed, no, he's not going to go to Head Start. We'll might put him in kindergarten when he turns 5. A lot of kids are not in school. A lot of them are, you know, I'm sure they're freaking over like computer schooling, online schooling. You know, because kids got to interact. Kids got to get beat up. Kids got to beat up the bully. Kids got to chase the girls. The girls got to, like, you know, look at boys. There's all this interaction that they're all missing out on. Yeah, they got to learn these things with each other's in person in their little circles. And everybody's been out for a year and a half, I want to say. Well, since the beginning of all this. I think the schools are one of the first things to shut down. And my mom, she's a teacher. You know that your mom is. My mom's been saying lately, I've been overhearing her conversation, saying that she thinks the kids are going to have to start the year over. I guess there's some measurement going on that our state, Arizona, is calling about. Having the kids go to summer school for 8 weeks to try and catch up to where they are so they can pick up where they left off. And she's saying no, that the kids should actually start their year over.
Oh, wow.
And can you imagine that? Like being set to graduate 1 year and then you got to graduate a year later than that? Yeah, how hard that is for kids. Where they're like, all right, one more year, and I'm out of here. Like, I just... And the ones that are not even thinking that, they're like, I can barely stand this shit. I can't do this anymore. You know, there's all these levels of students that, you know, they're in it, they're in the mix, whether they're beginning or they're towards the end or they just don't care. They've been put on hold.
Yeah. And
what's going to happen to them now? Like I think some schools have been doing Augie Neva, they were required to go to school to test. And I think it was because they go to a charter school, and charter schools get federal funding, I think it is. And of course the federal government, we talked about this, about standardized testing with Juan, I think it was, that it's killer for the kids, but the federal government requires it. So the school was telling the parents, your kids are required to come in and test, or they will be held back.
Oh, man.
Or I think they even threatened failing them. And we all got in a huff. I was like, no, fuck that. You can't force me to force my kid to go into this hot zone. You know, it's still too early. You can't make my kid do this. You're putting their lives in danger, and as a school, that's illegal. That's not right. I'm not going to play your game. I don't care if you say they're required, and if you want to start messing with their grades, shame on you. Like, screw that. But I think we all had to like find a happy medium. You know what I mean? Like we all had to.
Yeah.
I think the kids were on vacation with their dad, and they had to come back to Arizona. They were off across the country, and they had to come back to go to school to do this testing. And I think what they were saying, like, oh, we'll have them divided up. We'll, have them spaced out, but we do need them in the classroom together to take testing so we can watch them. I think that was the big thing. We have to monitor them while they're testing.
Yeah.
And they were trying to size up the kids to see where they're at, and I guess that would tell them, that would tell the government they get paid, the school would find out, the teachers and the school would find out where the kids are, and then I guess they're preparing to start over, to pick up again. And I'm pretty sure Sunnyside, one of the schools, maybe a couple schools, there was one up in Vail, where they've been back to school for months.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
So what do you think about that? Well, I mean, we got kids on the nation. You have basketball players in your care, and there's talk about sending them back to school. What do you think about that?
Well, I think they need to be in school. I guess as far as the social part of the experience that they kind of been robbed of this year, to be able to have those connections and to be able to leave their home I think that's kind of not my beef, but sort of my like all this up in the air stuff, and that's kind of made me question like education. Like, what is it that we want our kids to gain from high school and any of the schools? Because we've kind of had to, kind of improvise a school year.
Yeah.
And whatever they decide, it still messes with the psyche of the student. Like, again, if a kid has to say, "Oh, I have to be in 5th grade a whole another year," I mean, like, that could, like, that might destroy them. Like, damn, like, that was a horrible year, and now I have to do it again. I mean, so there's just all these I guess effects of when those decisions get made of how things are going to be. But like, I think, I mean, even like, it's like weird. It's like, we go to school to have friends, and maybe some go to school to realize they need friends. And it's like, again, all these social reasons of why they should be in school, and it's kind of hard to do those things on a computer. But I think on the nation there's this level of respect where if someone doesn't agree, then we respect that, and because I don't think everybody wants the kids in school. I think they're still concerned, it's still out there. So I think there's still that, like how we've been. It should just stay that way.
I think on the nation, and I think I heard it from Juan, or maybe the runner, maybe even KOHN. I think I heard that the school board agreed with the parents. I think they held a study hall, or what do they call it? City hall, where people come in and voice their opinions, and I think they agreed with the population, with the parents, that they were going to push or hold out school, keep the kids out all the way in through fall.
I think that's pretty much what I hear is going to happen.
So come spring next year, they're going to try to kick it off again. And who knows where these kids are going to be at, level-wise, grade-wise. Again, and talking about the mentality like you brought up, Think about a kid that's been locked up with their parents in a house, and say their parents have been freaking out the whole time, like, oh, you can't be out there, people, you can't be out there, people. And then suddenly this kid is in a room full of people. There's got to be a mental effect on that, on them, like concentration-wise. And when you were thinking, like, oh, we got to rethink school, I was thinking, how much emphasis, like, how much do we need education? I was thinking about when we were talking with CJ, and she was like, hey, like, education is what lifts you up. Pulls you out of whatever bad place you're in. It's how you make the difference in your life.
Yeah.
I think that was her that said that. And yeah, like where are they gonna be at? My mom was saying, even if they, like, she said, grade wise they should probably start the year over. And forcing them to go to summer school is like punishing them for a pandemic, you know, like it's unfair to the kids to try and make them make it up real quick all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But then, you know, that just brings up the question, what do they do? And her whole thinking was, hey, they got to start the year over. That's tough. But yeah, I think right now school is still not normal. And it's still not going to be normal for a long time.
Yeah, I remember in, I believe it was 3rd grade, but the class was, there were 2nd graders in there as well. So...
Sorry, dude, that's my mom's phone. It's in the room with me, but I don't know where the hell it is.
But, you know, maybe combining grades and actually, you know, just reconsidering what they're teaching, and
yeah,
it almost kind of makes you question the whole. I mean, I know they go by your year, but like, did you ever have a chance to go up a grade, or do you remember people where they got to skip grades?
Yeah, I feel like they gave me the shot, and my mom said, hell no. There was also kids that they were born a certain time of year. They either started early or started late.
Oh, yeah.
I think they offered it to me very early on, like around kindergarten, 1st grade. And she said no. Maybe. I did have kids in my class go up. I don't know. I think I'm a late bloomer. I think I didn't really get my shit together till way later.
Oh.
Yeah. Like
So
I did have I was intelligent, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Not like that.
Alright, well, don't worry about it.
Let it go, bro. Let it go.
It happens to the best of us.
Apparently, I never let it go. Here I am.
Yeah. I shouldn't have brought it up.
Yeah. Put me on blast, bro. Every time.
Hey, that's something that the schools do where everyone is kind of... I hate to be like, not to suggest a standardized test, but like, what can we combine some of these grades together so that, you know, we start to sort of push where we need to push.
Yeah.
Or encourage some kids to go up a grade, or that, like, even, I don't know, even promoting, like, hey, if you gotta redo a grade, like, that's not so much a bad thing, but almost like you're gonna get something more out of it.
Yeah. All right. So back in when I came back to school, I want to say 2009, 2008. I redid. I was going back into chemistry, and I had the choice where to start, and I chose the earlier class. It was like 130. It was chemistry 130. Because I felt like hell. I've been out of school so long. I need to get caught back up. And to do all that again, I feel like I caught stuff that I missed the first time around. I don't think I even went to chemistry 130 before. I think I just went right to 155.
Yeah.
But like to go back to that level 130, I felt like I learned a hell of a lot more. Or maybe it caught on better because I came in with a mentality of catching up or going back to school.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's pertinent information.
No, there might have been more writing on it than you thought.
Yeah.
Or you felt before.
Yeah, maybe it was more important. I don't know, but I felt like I caught on to a lot more. I caught a lot of the more subtle details that maybe when I was in 155 and 151 and then on to 152 that I was like things I missed, things that I still had questions about, but still went through with the grading, still went through with the class. And so going back to school for these kids might be a good thing. But I'd feel sorry for them, like they're being punished. And I was also thinking when, damn it, I had a good point to make. I was thinking that there's a lot of emphasis on when the kids get to go. Like, hey, let's get them through this. Let's get them graduated. Because, I mean, even recently, like, we've been in this pandemic, but just recently, a lot of kids have been promoted, and, they graduated, like, in cells. They're putting up all those signs, which I thought was a pretty cool idea. Of graduate students.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I felt like the nation was like, hey, these are our kids, and that was pretty cool of them to do that. Kind of looks like the U of A, the student athletes and all that hanging up on the big banners. That was cool. My mom was saying it would be cool if they let the kids keep those. Like just a big poster with your name on it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but anyway, like, all right, so they came back in the middle of all this, and they were supposed to graduate, and we went through with it. So now these other kids that are coming through, how unfair would it be if they had to start over again? Like, I feel like at some point there's going to be this big push to make sure they make it through.
Yeah, it's like you're always trying to be fair for everybody.
Yeah.
But it almost seems like someone has to kind of get the short end of the stick.
Yeah, somebody's getting the shaft.
Because, I mean, the way we calculate a year is like we catching up forever,
Yeah.
We always behind.
Yeah.
I almost think like let's go Saturdays, let's make up our time to maybe going on a Saturday.
Jeez.
I know that's like the worst thing to say, but like,
how rough would that be?
I mean,
so they be going to school 6 days a week. Or you think like a partial Saturday?
Maybe, but it's like at the end of the day, is the real goal to get everybody back on track, or is it to make sure that everyone is in the grade and back on the calendar?
Or,
so
or that they still graduate at the same time.
Yeah, so that's what I mean about the whole evaluation of what education is, because, like, if they gotta teach us all this important stuff, then maybe Saturday we can knock it out a little quicker, but if there's really this important thing that they're trying to teach you while you're there, then maybe some kids already can be graduated and they're like still a junior or a sophomore, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know,
Can you imagine if there was like a domino effect of this from now until, whenever, like a whole generation of children moving up their grade and being completely unprepared for it, and then that just like a drop in the water, and the wave just goes out. There's this long, outstretching wave of, I guess, failures in work, failures in school, failures in college, where they're just a little bit behind because of this year off. Can you imagine? I'll bet you right now. We'll go into predictions here. I bet you at some point there'll be a study or a news report saying something like that happens, where they're going to question how ready are our kids. All of a sudden everybody's grades were in the toilet this year. And now there's repeaters, and there's like all these grades. Kids are being torn in different directions, and it trickles down the rest of their lives.
Wow.
How horrible would that be? Or different? Or say they're perfectly fine after a year off in school. Then it's like, hey, like how important is it for them to be there?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think there is going to be a ripple effect.
Ripple effect, that's what I was talking.
Yeah, but it's almost like, I don't know, like, even I was thinking about that the other day, like, my niece, she knows ABCs, and we know the alphabet from the song, but like, why is it, like, it doesn't seem that easy to rearrange the letters and learn them in a whole different way. We just continue to learn it in that pattern. I don't know where I was going with that. But I don't know, man. I think I don't know.
Here, I got a redirect here, and I think it's like the last one I want to touch on.
Yeah.
India and the new strain. There's talk of new strains that are worse. I guess there's always talk of a new, worse one coming out, There's talk of a second wave. I think I watched, it was either a Vice report or just a regular news report, but I was watching this man doing cremations in the street. Like, he just had like an empty parking lot. It wasn't a parking lot, but it was like a lot, and it was empty. And they were just bringing in bodies, and he just looked like a ghost because he was just covered in ash. And I don't know if that was normal for them in India, like how they do it. Like, there's always different cultures. But like, they would lay the body down and just start stacking wood on it, and it kind of looked like the Viking funeral on the boat. Like piles of wood, and then they just set them aflame. And this guy, him and like a whole team, they were talking about just going day and night not sleeping, just awake and eating standing up, not even eating, not even drinking water, just doing it. There's so many bodies just piling up, and they were burning people in the street, and it blew my freaking mind. And I kept thinking, is this India, or is this how bad it is?
Mm.
And, we're all throwing our masks on the ground while, this is still going on in another country. And when you I don't know if you ever play those games of Pandemic or whatever, where there's simulation. I think when it comes to sickness and the flu and all that, the world becomes a pretty small place. And, suddenly we're very, very interconnected with our transportation and our interactions with each other. And, so I don't know if you saw it, and I'm wondering how you feel about it, let's finish this up with predictions. What do you see? We talked about the school and people feeling normal. What do you think is coming? Do you see an end to this? Is next year the time where we just go back to normal? When all this started, there was talk next year we'll just pick this back up.
Yeah.
And now it's next year, and we're still just barely figuring it out.
Well, I've been thinking more. Maybe the schools get more creative with how they bring in kids, not having maybe not everyone there all at once, spreading them out throughout the week.
That's interesting.
I would suggestions or predictions, because
predictions.
Predictions. There's the big talks of everyone getting vaccinated. So I think places have become more comfortable.
I think that's what made people so lax.
Yeah.
They're convinced everybody's vaccinated, or there's so many people vaccinated that it's, hey, let's just drop our masks. Let's drop our guard right here.
Yeah.
Or maybe the people that weren't wearing their masks were vaccinated.
That's another weird part about it too, is people are vaccinated, but it's still you still got to be considerate of your health too, because you could still get sick, you still carry it and pass it on. But some people, it just seems because they got it, now they're invincible to it. And I think the stuff in India is just more a reminder that it's still out there.
Still dangerous.
But there have been a few things that we have over time have kind of changed on how we operate, but it just seems like the stores and the restaurants, they kind of got to be almost there. It seems like they got to show that they're being sanitary. So before it was almost I remember before, there were some restaurants that were pretty dirty.
Yeah.
And then since all this has happened, it almost, because I remember we always used to when they have the news, they would talk about the restaurants and what they got grade wise on the upkeep. And it would always, like, disappoint you because there'll be a restaurant you like, but they would get, like, a naff or something, or you would hear some, like, horrible story about what you slept. So...
It's just seasoning, bro.
So now it just seems like restaurants have to kind of get clean. They have to clean up their shit, but now it's almost like they're giving out masks. They got stations where you can get hand sanitizer. So it almost seems like restaurants gotta be more.
Yeah.
They're showing that they're aware of what's going on, and
that's a funny point. Like I've had a few. Oh, my mic's all jacked. I had a few moments where I don't know if it was at a store or a restaurant, but I started hearing like, "Oh, we got to do this now," and one of my first thoughts was like, isn't that kind of what it was before the pandemic? Shouldn't we have these sorts of standards in place where you're actually cleaning your tables between customers? Like, maybe a new rag is a good idea. Like, shouldn't that have been in place already? And now you're doing it because there's a pandemic? Like, there was a few moments where I was like, dear God, people. Like, I kind of hope you were doing this before the pandemic. I suspect, just ever so slightly in the back of my head, that there's going to be remnants that just stay with us that will be a new standard. Because, like, when I was working at Lowe's, we were selling shit tons of those sanitary stations. Those, like, just the little hand soap dispenser, but for sanitizer.
Yeah.
And they're made so you can, attach it to a 2x4 and stick it in a bucket of cement, or like they were like little stands. And we sold all those. And what are all these places gonna do? Do you think they'll just throw them in the trash? Like, oh, we don't need those anymore, or will that just be around? Is that just gonna remain long after this is quote unquote over?
Yeah.
When everything quote unquote goes back to normal, there's gonna be. I think there's gonna be these things that remain, and maybe these loogied up drinking fountains will be different or redesigned or not at all.
I don't.
Like we as a people, like a country, tend to not learn from the past. You know what I mean? Like we were outsourcing all these masks and sanitizers and all that to 3M or whatever. Like 3M, I don't know if that's a Chinese company or what, but it was definitely outsourced out there. So when the shit hit the fan, at some point, I know China said, "Hey, we're gonna kind of hold on to these for a little bit." And then there was this, like, I think there was already a mass shortage because of the panic rush that initially hit.
Yeah, everybody ordering stuff.
Yeah, and it's almost like this stuff has happened before. And it's like, okay, we didn't learn then. You think we'll learn now? You think there'll be some new or like hard points that we stick to now? Or you think we're just going to do it again on the next big thing? Because, I mean, coronavirus has existed before all this.
Yeah.
But they called this the Wuhan or whatever, like it was COVID-19. It was this new one.
Yeah. Well, check this out. I believe it was polio. When polio was going around and the kids were not allowed to go to school.
Uh-huh.
And they they did their schooling by radio.
Wow.
So, I mean, how different is that to like them doing online now?
Yeah.
I know besides like the whole interaction with the computer, keyboard, but like it's technology and being passed through wherever, wherever they're at, wherever you're at, but there's no contact, at least physical.
Yeah.
Or however, I mean even that's sort of a weird thing. Because like some kids this school year haven't even met their teacher.
Yeah.
Like in person.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean that's kind of weird too. I mean.
Huh. I think the whole delivery thing is gonna stay too. Like all of a sudden, all these stores that never had to deliver before, stores and restaurants, like all right, only pizza joints deliver, and Chinese food joints would deliver, and now because in order to stay in business, all these businesses were forced to change and start delivering, and now it's an expected thing. Like, oh, you don't deliver? Like what? Well, I'll just call this other store that delivers. Like, I kind of wonder how hard this is going to impact the big box store, like a Walmart. Like they, up to this point, they've been this hardcore presence in every city. And now, are we going to have more distribution and delivery systems in place? And just keep doing that, because now that we've proven it can be done, why go back? Why go back? Or is this going to kind of kill stores and suddenly we're no longer going to have a store where you can just go in and buy? Like, we have them now, but as far as the ripple effect goes, like we were talking about, what's going to change? Little subtle things like that.
Yeah. Well, I think being on the res, we don't have DoorDash or
Postmates. We're still kind of stuck in the past there.
So I'm okay with not knowing those or using those things. So
I'm sure somebody on the res is rolling over like, hey, fuck that, I'll deliver to your door anytime. I'll drop my chumeth off at your door.
Yeah, I thought about that when I first started working in sales. Like, I just thought it would be cool. I thought I was that cool to where I could like pay somebody to just bring me food.
Yeah.
That would be the little side hustle. I think I'm thinking of the Seinfeld episode where his boss wants him to bring him a calzone, and they start bonding over calzone. So.
Oh yeah.
So it was always like, I wish there was somebody that just would bring me. Well, at the time it was fish tacos. Just sort of like, man, because sometimes I couldn't go out, or I would forget they were having fish tacos. But it's like,
you brought your lunch.
If I just had somebody like just that was their job, just to bring me those fish tacos, that would be a sweet gig. But the place stopped making. They're no longer in business, so yeah, it didn't work out. Wow. But yeah, stores are gonna have to kind of change. Amazon is
killing it.
popping. Yeah. I think the jobs are gonna be. I didn't feel like I started ordering more stuff online.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just always felt like that was the way the world was going even before the pandemic.
Maybe.
That, you know, you could just call and order.
Yeah.
You can just click and order. So
you could Amazon your groceries now.
Oh yeah, no, I guess it's just like the car thing, like some people still want to get in their car and go places and do things.
Yeah.
You know, to where, you know, some people still want to go to the store. That was another funny thing, because when I was in Tempe, I went to this old Target that, you know, I hadn't been to in a while, and it was just, I remember going there, or at least going to a Target in that area, but like, it was always kind of this hit place, but there was a lot of mothers with their infant going in, and it was just them by themselves. And it was just, I must have saw like 3 ladies with their baby going into Target, or in Target shopping, but it was just kind of like, this is part of their day to day, you know, going out, going places, you know, so it was like, you know, some people still like going out, and some people still need to go out, or, I don't know. I can't say that I've like ever made a cool friend at the store. You know, usually it's like, I want to go and get out, and but.
Or they hang out at Walmart. Like, hey, you want to just go walk around and people watch?
Yeah. Those a window shop.
Yeah.
Just kind of look.
I think we're due for change. A lot's been changing this whole time, and I think a lot of it's going to stick. Like I said, there'll be remnants. There'll be remnants of this, and the whole ripple effect that we mentioned. It's gonna stick around. I think long after everybody feels quote unquote normal, that there's going to be the side effects of this still hanging around.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's end it on that. Everybody who's listening, take note of what's happening around you. Take note of what you think is right going into the school year for your kids, and what maybe you would have expected when you went through school. And just know that we're making history as we go along right now. That we're a part of this generation that's experiencing this pandemic. Something that maybe isn't new in history, but it's creating a difference. You know, things have been changing for us, and it's going to be changing for all these kids going back to school. And I think it would be worthwhile if you all just take note.
I brought these magazines. I thought you might like to go through them. They have
I can hear my so yeah, everybody just take note of what's going on. Think about what's happening around you, and So yeah. Anyway, I just think everybody here we're in a historic time, and I think one of my last predictions will be that once again, haves and have-nots, mostly pertaining to vaccinations.
Mm-hmm.
That could become a really freaky divide in the people in the months to come, and maybe this year, this coming. I think it could become this really hard point that people are going to take. So I'm hopeful, but at the same time, I think we should all be paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any last words from you?
I mean, still continuing forward with, what you always had going prior to the COVID-19 shit. But then also sort of understanding how all this is almost impacting the future of where you come from, who you identify with, but there's all these devices and ways that impact the people. So, just make sure that you're, doing your research or at least having those conversations with people that you're in agreement with what's happening. Because you don't always have to agree with what. I think that's kind of one thing where you want to fall in line, or you want to follow the rules, or you want this to happen, so you're willing to go this far. It's just, know what you're sacrificing and know what you're, I guess your purpose.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's like, your purpose and your sort of ability to be living. We're not guaranteed anything. So even though there's a pandemic, you still gotta spread your wings and fly. The world is your oyster, so go get it, whatever you gotta do. But just be smart about how you're moving in the world, because we don't know. Well, we know what's out there, but we also don't know what's out there.
Yeah.
So that's all I gotta say.
Yeah. So everybody that's listening, be safe and pay attention, because a lot's gonna happen real soon. All right. I'm gonna hit that big red button. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening, and like I said, be safe.
Peace.
Peace.